Hi, everybody. So for my project, my Keystone project, what I decided to do was revolved around charity. So at the beginning of my project, I wasn't really quite sure what I that I was gonna. I'm doing charity. I wanted to do something about not judging as much because I'm not from here. I'm from Colorado, and I'm from a small town. I grew up on a ranch. And so when I got here, I wasn't quite sure kind of how Provo worked and living in the big city. I lived in a big city on my mission, but this was kind of my first experience living in the big city. And so I was trying not to be as judgmental, but and I thought that I would develop charity so that I could be less judgmental. But that's kind of when I grew to understand how diverse charity can be. So I learned that charity, if we develop charity, it'll do a lot more for me than just not make me as judgmental, but it'll, like it says in Peter, that charity will cover a multitude of sins, or in the Joseph Smith translation, it says preventeth a multitude of sins. So really, developing charity will do a lot more for me than just not being a judgmental person. And I grew to learn that as I developed charity, that really the most important thing for us to do is become real disciples of Jesus Christ. And so that's kind of what became my project, was being a true disciple of Jesus Christ and trying to do what he would do and serve as he would serve. And so my project turned into doing one act of discipleship every day. And in order to do that and record what I did, I kept a journal of all the good things that I was doing, which kind of got interesting because I had to really monitor myself and make sure that I kept giving the glory to the Lord. When you help someone and they're really grateful and you feel really good about yourself, you have to keep reminding yourself that it's not you, it's the Lord. You're just on His errand. And along with that, I searched for not just good intention. I searched for good intentioned people in the Book of Mormon. I tried to find good examples of people who were being true disciples of Jesus Christ that weren't serving or doing other things for other motives. So that is kind of what my project turned into. And some of the things I drew from the Book of Mormon, how the Book of Mormon kind of affected my outlook on that. The first one that drew a lot of my attention was Isaiah. Um, to steal a statistic from Brother Jepson, it said he taught us that 92% of Isaiah in the Book of Mormon deals with attributes and the mission of Christ, which really came to show me that Isaiah really knew the Savior, and what he was doing with his life was serving the Savior, and he was obviously a prophet. And so that became a really good example to me of someone who actually knew the Savior, probably on a personal basis, and he had dedicated his life to serving the Savior. So that was kind of the first thing that really drew my attention of being a true disciple of Jesus Christ and really knowing him, having his love. And the second one was King Benjamin's speech, Mosiah 2:24 through 22 through 24. And that's when he talks about how we're always indebted to the Savior. And even if we do really good things, even if we're great people, we're still indebted to the Savior. Um, we still will always owe him. And that's what kind of helped me to stay humble and keep reminding myself that every time I was doing a good act or showing love toward another person, it was really just paying back the Lord a tiny bit for what he's done for me. And the last example I got from the Book of Mormon that was really cool was Alma. We know that in the beginning of Alma, he became the chief judge as well as the high priest of the church. And in Alma 4, he saw the dissensions in the church, and he decided to leave his prestigious position as chief judge, and he became just the high priest of the church, and he went and preaching to all the people. And it was a much less glamorous life, I'm sure, um, than what it would have been if he had just stayed chief judge and stayed on the judgment seat. And so that's a really good example to me of um, really choosing the Lord over other things. And so the outcome was that, first of all, I got to brighten someone's day every day, which was lovely. It was really nice to be able to see that. I started receiving more personal revelation in my life, which is kind of funny because I was looking outside of myself more, which has helped me to receive more personal revelation. My intentions improved, or in other words, I was doing these things for the right reasons. I wasn't doing them to deserve something in return. I was actually doing them to try and be a real disciple of Jesus Christ. And like I kind of said before, I received a lot of blessings that I was searching for, but I didn't receive them until I started looking at the other people, looking towards others, being a true disciple of Christ. And I also learned how to be able to be served. So I kind of used to have a problem, I kind of still do, of letting people serve me. I'm kind of a little bit prideful in that aspect, but serving other people helped me to be able to serve others more. And so it was a really great project. I'm really grateful that I was able to come to know the Savior a little bit more of this project. And I just developed so much more love for him. So that's all I've got.